Okay, so we've gotten a little taste of React, and now what we want to do is get in and hit some of the other fundamental topics that are unique to React. And so we're going to go in and create a new project. I'll just again create a folder here on my desktop. You can create it wherever you want to, as long as you can find it later on. And I'll just call this React Fun. Now again, eventually what we're going to do is connect this React front end in with a .NET backend. And so I'm going to go into this folder and I'm going to build two new folders, directories, one for the front end and one for the back end. All right, so I create those folders, and now I'm going to open Visual Studio Code. We're going to open a folder, and the folder that we want to open is that top level folder, so React Fun. We don't want to drill down and open up one of these folders because then we won't be able to see the other side, and that's going to become important as we work with the back end and the front end at the same time. So I'm going to choose React Fun, select folder, and I can see my two folders that I have in there. And now what I'm going to do is open up the terminal. So terminal, new terminal. And in this React folder, I'm going to run this command that we ran in the last series of videos to set up my React app. And so you may not have those memorized yet, but before long, you do this enough and you start to just remember these commands. So we say npm, gotta get on the right window, npm create Vite at latest, and that's assuming we want to have the latest version. Obviously, if we wanted a previous version, we could do that. And then we need to say where we're going to put this, and so we put it in our case, into the front end folder. So npm create Vite at latest front end. When we run that command, it's going to say, which framework do you want to use? Now, we're using React. So we say React, and then which variant, and we're going to use TypeScript with React. Again, if you wanted to, you could use JavaScript if that's what you're most comfortable with. We're going to use TypeScript. And it says, okay, that's done. Now run these commands to get it working. And so I will, first of all, cd from our React Fun folder into the front end folder. So that's changing directories into front end. Enter, and I can see that I'm in that front end folder now. npm install, which will install, make sure all the necessary packages are installed. And that'll take just a minute. Now the next command is to do an npm run dev, which will pull up our website. And so once that's done, I can do an npm run dev. That'll load up our website. I can click on the link, and sure enough, we have our default Vite React app running. Okay, as you recall, we'll do a few other things to get this app set up. One is that we want to bring in Prettier. Now, if you look at your extensions and you type in Prettier, it's already been installed. If we click on it, we installed it in the last project, it's installed. So what we want to do now is just get it set up. So we run our same commands. We say npm install Prettier -- save - dev. So we run that command first, which will set up Prettier for this project. And then in our front end folder, at the same level as the package JSON, so in the front end folder, we're going to create a new file, as you'll recall, and it's going to be called prettier rc.json. So this is the Prettier file. These are the rules, and we have kind of this default set of rules that we'll put in there that are pretty common. So semi-true, that's to add semicolons, single quote at the end of a line. If we're missing something, like if there's not a semicolon at the end of the line, it will add it in for us. So single quote is true. JSX, single quote also, or is false, sorry. Trailing comma is ES5. And again, these are pretty standard as I've looked around at different instances and videos and whatnot. These seem to appear, these same ones. And then some other ones that people like. And you can go out and research what other ones are available and put in the ones you like. But if we leave a semicolon off of a line, that first semi equals true will go add it in for us. So we don't have to, it helps us catch and fix our mistakes. All right, tab width 2, end of line, auto. All right, so these are just some standard, prettier rules that will be enforced. All right, I can save that. So I save that file. And then I need to get prettier and ESLint, which is that default. Again, it has to do with rules about how the code is structured and whatnot. We want to get those two to play well together. And so we do that by saying npm install -- save dev space ESLint space prettier, and then ESLint -config prettier, and ESLint plugin prettier. All right, so that's our command to get those two to work together. And that'll take just a second. And then we do this step that I think I forgot in the last set of videos. Whoops. So we are going to go into the ESLint file and make some entries here so that it works well with prettier as well. And I think this is why we were getting some double errors and whatnot in the last set of videos. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to import prettier from ESLint. Let's see which one. Config prettier. So we bring that in, and then we have another line that says import ESLint config prettier from ESLint config prettier. Okay, so those two lines are imports that aren't being used yet, but we're going to use them in just a second. So after this line that says extends JS configs recommended whatnot, after this comma, we're going to put another entry inside these square brackets. And so inside the square bracket, we put a comma and we say ESLint config prettier. And then we come down into the plugins section. And after this entry, we're going to add in one for prettier. And then the last thing we'll do is down below, so we have this allow constant export true line, and then below that we have a square bracket and a comma, and below that, before we get to that closing brace, we'll say prettier / prettier error, and that will be the end of our little setup. Now you may be asking yourself, why do we have to do this every time we set up a new project? And the answer is maybe we won't in the future. We used to have to set up ESLint, install it, run some commands, build this file ourselves, but because it's been used just as kind of a standard, then it got incorporated into the real project setup. Maybe prettier will be at some point as well. But for now, we'll add those things in. It's really not that big of a deal to add those few lines in. And then we should be set to go. Now I'm going to run an npm install just to make sure we're good. In my notes, I had us run that after. I don't think we necessarily needed to, but I'm doing it just in case. It doesn't hurt anything. Okay, so that is our setup for our project. And what we'll do in the next video is start building something together. Spencer out.